G'day guys, welcome back. In this week's video, we're doing another comparison. Swag versus rooftop tent. Let's get into it. All right, to start off with, we're going to be talking about pros and cons of swag.
So a couple pros are put them anywhere. You can store them in your car, on your roof, in your tray. They're pretty maneuverable to where you can store them.
They're also really light, so you don't have the weight factor. They weigh basically nothing. They can get bulky as you get up to the bigger sizes, but if you're only by yourself and you're taking a little single swag, you've got no worries.
You can fit it literally anywhere.
Yeah.
Talking about that, they're pretty good for like one or two people. If you are on like more of a budget as well, they are cheap. You can get the Kins ones super cheap. Kins ones are fine. You can get swags that cost right up to I think over $800, but you do not need that.
I think it's also just personal preference. Yes, the more expensive swags probably are a little bit better quality. They also get bigger as you go. One thing that I don't like about the swag is I feel like I'm in a little cave and I feel claustrophobic. But if you spend a little bit more, you can get the swags that have the additional poles. So it's more of like a coffin style, I guess, not the rounded style. It has a big opening where your head would be and then it gets smaller towards the end, which I personally think would be a better fit for us. But we do just have a king swag. But I have seen hacks on Instagram and that where you can add an extra pole in the middle of it to lift it up and make it feel bigger because they do tend to sag in. So if you had that extra pole in the middle, it would lift it up. And I think that would absolutely do the job. And especially when you think about the cost, you can't really complain. Another pro to it is that you're in one spot and you can just leave it set up. Whereas when you're in a rooftop tent, you got to pack it down if you want to go for a drive somewhere. So if you are sort of on the go and you're going to be driving in and out of places, a swag is great for that because you can just leave it there, set up, ready to go.
You don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. Whereas obviously if you're in a rooftop tent, you're going to have to close it and open it, which is not that bad because they're quite quick to set up depending on what rooftop tent you have. And same with the swag. It takes you 5 minutes to set up. So on that comparison, they're pretty similar with setup time.
And then with some cons, you're on the ground.
Yeah.
Some places you do not want to be on the ground.
Another con with them being on the ground is obviously they're going to get dirtier. They're going to get muddy. They can get sand in them.
Like we've experienced it a lot. Like one of our first trips we went to Exmouth, we just all stayed in swags and it was windy and everything just got covered in sand. You'd have everything shut and you'd still get sand in everywhere. Like you'd wake up and there'd be like a pile of sand on your face. And it's just because you're on the ground.
Yeah.
You go up to North Australia, you don't really want to be on the ground.
Yeah, don't want to come face to face with the...
Especially like even everywhere in Australia, like we got snakes, we got spiders, we got bugs are just easier to get to you when they're on the ground and nothing's really sealed. So they can get in.
Basically everything in Australia is trying to get to you. So
somewhat help that with a stretcher, but that's just an extra thing you have to carry around with you, which sometimes you don't have enough space to have a stretcher. Swags are sometimes pretty difficult to roll up. If you have any physical disadvantages or anything like a bad knee or a bad shoulder, they are quite hard to roll up by yourself. So sometimes you do need more than one person just to roll up your swag with you.
One of our mates has a really bad knee and every time he rolls his swag up, it's
like this big.
It looks terrible.
Whereas like everyone else is like, you can get to nice and tight, but he can't because he just can't with his knee.
Sitting in our carport and it's like taking up this much space because it's not rolled up properly.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about some pros and cons of the rooftop tents. To start off with, it's always on your car and all the parts are there. You can't forget poles like you can with
Oh,
swags.
trust me. We've had many friends that have left poles behind.
Poles, pillows, just leave stuff behind. You can.
It's very funny.
Yeah. Most rooftop tents, you can leave your stuff in it, so you just can't forget anything.
Not that long term you want to leave all your stuff in it because you run the risk of it getting a bit musty and moldy.
But like when you're getting ready in a few days prior, you can just put your stuff in there and just leave it there so everything's there for you.
I know some people do take their rooftop tents on and off their car with just for their daily drive around. Personally, we just leave ours on the Ranger. We don't have a option to take it on and off and store it somewhere. I think if we did, we probably would, because it just is less weight on the car all the time. But unfortunately, we don't have that option where we are
And we'd
now.
save a bit more fuel just driving around, just because it's like a giant wind drag up there.
Obviously, you're off the ground, so you don't have to worry about all your little slithery friends or...
They can still get to you. If they want to get to you, they'll get to you no matter where you are. But it's less likely that you'll come across creatures you don't want to see.
Personally, that I feel a lot safer in the rooftop tent.
Yeah, when you're off your ground, it's harder to get to you. We have had instances where like we've had our tent broken into while we're camping. It's not fun. You have a lot less of a chance of bringing up sand with you because you can actually walk up the ladder, clean your feet, clean your body before you get into there. And sand is less likely to just blow up with you.
That is like one of my biggest pet peeves is having like crumbs or sand or dirt in the bed. It makes my skin crawl. So being able to brush my feet, which obviously you can do with the swag as well, but only to an extent because you're still on the ground. So can't get as much off but when you're up in the rooftop tent. Sometimes we even put a little towel at the end of the bed. So when we get up there, if we got muddy feet or whatever, we can just wipe them straight off before we get in. So we have no worries about that. Another pro is obviously they are more sealed than a swag when you're traveling. If you have your swag on your roof and you're on a dirt road, it's probably going to be full of dirt, where with the rooftop tent, it's sealed, so we don't get any dirt. And we've had no issues with that.
No issues at all. And we have been some very dirty, dusty places. You've even seen some videos of us, like you can't even see the car behind you and they've got the headlights on. So we've been in some incredibly dusty areas.
And we've even put the seal to the test. If you've watched our rooftop tent review video, you will know that I ran into a house with a rooftop tent and it's actually shifted it back. So we were a bit concerned about the seals, whether they'd actually still work, and they do. We've got no water, no dust or dirt in there. So it goes to show if you want to spend a little bit extra to get a rooftop tent, but not too much, just get a King's one. There is nothing wrong with them.
Yeah. We haven't had any issues with them. We've seen other people have issues with them, but that could be just not packing up properly. We see a lot of rooftop tents that aren't packed up properly. Like they have their little wings hanging out. It's just that'll make it not seal. That'll let moisture come in.
Yeah.
But it is dependent on each one. We were quite picky with this one, and there was a couple damaged boxes when we looked at it. This one did have a little bit of damage on it that we didn't notice until we got home.
Got a bit of a dent.
Like on one of the rails.
Yep.
It doesn't impact anything at all, but that's just, it doesn't worry us, that one. Talking about sealing, you can drive in the rain with a swag on your roof or in your tray or on top of your canopy or whatever. You cannot, it'll get soaked. It'll get absolutely drenched full of water. Rooftop tent, they're sealed. No water will get in while driving around.
Yeah. Like when they're set up, compared to a swag on a rooftop tent, pretty similar. Like obviously very good, waterproof and everything.
We've had no issues with water when it's set up.
With both,
yeah.
Yeah.
We have water treated the swag. We haven't water treated the rooftop tent. It's just literally you just spray water on it and then let it sit in the sun and spray water on it again and let it sit in the sun, and that's it. So it's not really waterproofing, but
one of the first trips we went on in the rooftop tent, it was a full-on storm.
Yeah, and we didn't get wet at all.
So we were a bit concerned because I'm not even first trip, and we're like, oh, do we need to waterproof this?
We didn't even.
But I guess we kind of did in that trip because it got wet for sure.
And we didn't even bring the wings for it, so it was just. Yeah.
We were very impressed, though, I will say, because we were a bit concerned when it started raining.
But to also say that, we've had no issues with water inside our swag. We haven't.
Yeah.
It gets wet and it gets full of condensation and it's like there, so you're more likely to get wet if you touch the sides. But that's going to happen no matter what. Rooftop tent, swag, no matter what you use, you're going to get condensation. If you touch the walls, you're going to get
even canvas camper trailer is going to have the same issue.
You're going to, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
With the rooftop tents, you can get better airflow through as well. You can leave your tops open, you're nice and high off the ground, you get nice airflow. Swags, it's a bit more difficult to get the nice airflow because you end up with sand and mud and just stuff inside your tent whenever we leave them open. You can shut them and you don't get any worries, but it gets hot and stuffy in there.
Yeah,
But
as soon as it hits, as soon as the sun's up, you got to be out of that thing because you're cooking like a roast in the oven.
But in the rooftop tent, we don't seem to have that issues. Even though it is black as well, we don't seem to have any issues with heat, unless it's obviously a hot
Like
as
40-degree day.
summer day. But you're going to have issues.
You're going to have issues either way. Yeah. Another pro is they tend to be a lot more comfortable than a swag. Generally come with a thicker mattress than the swag in the first place.
And you can easily store thicker mattresses inside and you can upgrade them. You can do anything. Whereas with the swag, you are kind of fixed with that size mattress because if you get a thicker mattress, it's going to be way harder to roll up or you have to carry around another mattress.
For ages, we did that. We put the extra mattress in the swag and then the swag was like this big. So then we just put the extra mattress on the back seat, but then we're losing that space as storage.
Yep.
Whereas everything is just in the rooftop tent and it's out of the way and we don't have to worry about it. It just is giving us more space without having to
compromise at all.
Yeah.
A con would definitely be it is a giant wind drag. It is a box sitting on your roof. Will affect your fuel economy. Definitely will. And they're kind of heavy as well.
They can add a lot of weight to your car when you compare that to a swag that weighs basically nothing.
Like
it's a big difference.
The lightest rate I've seen would be 65 kilos. And that's even at the top of your car. That is a fair bit of weight.
So obviously if you're got to look at numbers and that's an issue for you, a rooftop tent might not be an option for you.
Because that is something you've got to be really careful about. We've been seeing lots of posts on Facebook, lots of posts in group chats and everything that they're starting to crack down on weights. Caravans mostly that we've seen, but they are cracking down on weights and there's a massive possibility that they're going to start handing out massive fines if your car's overweight. So weights you need to start definitely looking into.
I think also something to be mindful is the more weight you add to the car, the more likely you are to have issues mechanically because it's just adding extra weights, making it work harder.
Extra strain and just... Again, like with fuel economy as an example, like you're going to be using more fuel, which means you're putting more strain on your engine. It's only a little bit and your engine should be able to handle it, but anything can cause issues.
Obviously, like I mentioned before with setup, if you want to go somewhere, you have to pack it down and then when you get back, you obviously have to put it back up. We don't have an issue with that because it literally takes 2 seconds to set up and pack down. When we went to Kalbarri, we were obviously heading in and out of town all the time and going and doing stuff. And so that wasn't an issue for us. We'd get up in the morning, pack it down, get ready to go, head out for the day. And then when we got back in the afternoon, we would just set it back up. Obviously, dependent on this rooftop tent, if you had more of the traditional
like canvas style that folds over, like they are more difficult to pack up. They're still not incredibly hard, but they're a little bit difficult.
Compared to the more just clamshell ones that just pop open, it takes 2 seconds to set them up. Does take a little bit more time to pack up, obviously, because you have to be mindful of getting it all in so that it's sealed properly.
So our final verdict would be it's depending on your situation.
Yeah.
If you are staying in one spot for a majority of the time, a rooftop tent would be better. But if you're moving around every single day, a swag would be a lot easier.
Yeah, if packing up and setting up bothers you, then obviously you would want to go with the swag.
You
just leave it. If you're going on more of a solo trip or shorter trips, I would say swag.
There's not really much point in you spending $1,800 on a rooftop tent, on the cheapest rooftop tent you can get, when you're only going to go do maybe a couple trips a year that take 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
That's when you're better off doing a swag.
I mean, obviously, if you want to spend the money, spend the money.
Yeah, if you've got it, spend it. But most people won't want to do that, I wouldn't think.
But then, like, if you're going on longer trips and you're more of a couple or multiple people, I would say get a rooftop tent. When you think about, like, being comfortable, it feels more homely to me.
You can have a bigger mattress. You can actually make your bed properly. And
yeah. You can have lighting in it. You can have a fan in it. You can set power up in them. It's more of just like an actual home base compared to a swag that's just a tent on the floor. Yeah. So I would say if you're going on longer trips and there's multiple of you, get a rooftop tent.
Yeah.
But then you also have to consider packing up and setting down, and that's where it's personal preference, whereas we don't care about it. But we have spoken about I don't think I could spend longer than 2 weeks in a rooftop tent. I think by 2 weeks I would start to feel a little bit claustrophobic, even in that bigger space. So if you're going to do even longer trips than that,
investing in something even bigger like a camp trailer or a caravan. Talking about budget would be the cost differences. Like you can get a King's solo swag, even on Marketplace, you can get them for like $30. That's what I've been seeing them for recently. You can still get secondhand rooftop tents for under $1,000. Oh, we've had one of our mates buy one for $800 and it's perfectly fine.
So yeah, that's also a preference depending on how much money you want to spend on your setup. Some people would rather invest that money into their cars and get a better setup and mods to their cars compared to their camping setup, whereas we like to be a little bit more comfortable, and I would rather spend the money on our camping setup compared to getting a bigger lift and bigger tires and things when it's not a necessity.
Yeah. If we were to recommend getting a rooftop tent over a swag, we would definitely probably recommend starting off with a swag, because that makes sure that you're definitely going to be interested in the camping and interested in actually getting out. You don't want to spend a big money on a rooftop tent if you don't like going camping.
It's also dependent on how much you're going to go camping. Like we said, some people are fine with just spending that money, even though they're only going to go camping out a couple of times a year. But if you're not going to get the wear out of it, cost per wear, you're probably better off getting a swag. Final verdict is it's personal preference. I hate to say it, but it is.
Yeah.
It's dependent on where you're going, how often you're going,
who you're going with, your budget, what you're wanting to do, how often you do it. If you're not going to do it much, definitely just get a swag. If you're going to do it, try and get out every couple weeks for a week or two, definitely get a rooftop tent. It is way more comfortable.
When we first got our rooftop tent, we found that we were still using the swag because obviously the rooftop tent is on the Ranger and we have the Patrol. So when we were going somewhere where it was more of a four-wheel drive trip, we would take the Patrol and sleep in the swag. After we did the rear
setup and we couldn't have the bed in the interior.
Originally, we had a floor in the back of the Patrol that we could set a mattress on, which we loved. But now that we have more of a rear setup with the fridge and everything, we cannot do that now. So we have to take the swag. But we've found a lot more recently that we are just taking the Ranger with the rooftop tent, as we prefer sleeping in the rooftop tent. We have a exciting trip coming up and we'll actually be doing a bit of a shift around with our setup. So if you guys want to see where we're going and what we're going to be doing to prep for that, we're coming in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that.
So stay tuned.
Comment down below if we missed anything or if you have any other points that you would like to bring up and what your personal preference is, whether you like a swag or a rooftop tent. We'd love to hear it.
We hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers for watching.